Am I the a-hole for admitting that I regret raising my ex's kid after what she did to my daughter? I-56 male said something in anger that, while at least partially true, maybe should have just taken to the grave. Legally have 3 kids, but played a fatherly role to 4. The 2 relevant children to this story is my daughter Michelle, 24 female, her sister Amy, 22 female, and my youngest daughter, Kelly, 21 female. Amy is not my daughter, but she and Michelle have the same mother, Jessica. When I was with Jessica, there was cheating on both sides, and the last guy she cheated on me with got her pregnant. After the DNA test proved that Amy was his, he bolted and stopped paying child support when Amy was 5. Jessica really struggled as a single mother, and Amy always felt bad that Michelle had a daddy while she didn't, and Michelle would tell me how guilty she felt. By the time Amy was around 9, I started making really good money, and decided to pay a little more than the legally mandated child support and taking Amy with me more. Jessica, Amy, and Michelle all loved this, and by the time Amy was 13, she was calling me dad, which I didn't mind. I thought I was doing a good thing and helping my daughter foster a loving relationship with Amy, and showing all my kids that just because things don't work out doesn't mean you still can't get along. Apparently, I was a little too nice in teaching the importance of sharing too much, because Amy got a crazy idea in her head that it was okay to share a man, and Michelle caught her sleeping with Kelly's boyfriend Jason, 22 male. Amy begged Michelle not to tell, and that this was a one-time thing, and Michelle believed her until she found out that Amy was pregnant and eventually came clean. Kelly was distraught and angry at both Amy and Jason, while hurt by Michelle. I didn't hide my disappointment at Michelle, and I have made it a point to tell her so every time we talked. I haven't spoken to Amy in months, but Jessica recently said that I've spent enough time being angry to get over it, and called me hypocrite because I used to be a Jason. I have no delusions about being the perfect partner in my past, but cheating with family members is not one of my sins. About a week ago, Amy came to my house crying and saying that while she knows she messed up, she really needs my support. She literally came not too long after Kelly cried herself to sleep again upstairs over what Amy and Jason did to her. So I calmly asked her how can I give again what I know I regret giving in the first place, then shut the door in her face. I then sent Michelle a text that while I still love her, Amy was no longer welcome in my life and to never bring her to my house. I've calmed down a bit, but I still feel like being involved in Amy's life was a bad choice. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. Okay. I've been in and out of here because I had stuff to do, but I keep seeing some things that I wanted to make clear to everyone. 1. What Amy did wasn't a mistake. It was a series of choices that she made, and obviously would have continued to make it if someone else had not ratted her out. 2. Michelle didn't tell Kelly what Amy and Jason were doing until after she found out that Amy was pregnant, which was before Kelly and Jason moved in together. Meaning Michelle stood by and watched her sister moved in with and become financially tied to someone who was cheating on her. That's what Kelly and I are most upset about. 3. Yes, Jason is equally to blame as Amy. He's just not the one contacting me or showing up at my doorstep. 4. No, Amy and Kelly are not sisters. Not by blood, and certainly not in spirit as Kelly wants nothing to do with her. Now for the top comments. A lot of people will disagree, but the fact she expected to be treated as if nothing happened when she slept with her sister's boyfriend and got pregnant as a result is crazy. You did a kind thing raising her and helping her so much, but if she's repaying you and your bi kids by doing things like that, maybe it is right to get her out of your life. Plus, it sounds like the ex is more concerned you want to be there to financially support her daughter, rather than the fact she's pregnant with her sister's boyfriend's child. Good luck. Super surprised by people calling Opie an a-hole. He did a kind thing by accepting Amy as a daughter, but that doesn't mean he has to support her no matter what. Even bi kids can be cut out if they do something egregious like this. Opie's statement was purposefully hurtful, but not unwarranted. I think it's not about him wanting to cut ties/support Amy at all costs, but specifically the AITA is about regretting being involved in Amy's life. And he's done a wonderful thing there that he shouldn't regret, even though Amy has turned into an a-hole. Not an a-hole. When are people going to learn that recreational intimate activity with a family member's partner is a great way to completely burn down their lives? Never, evidently. People want to be forgiving and forgetting that one. And then the guilty one inevitably waves a baby in everyone's faces? Nice try, but no, thank you. You made the situation, now be an adult and deal with it without crocodile tears. I've seen so many people in the sub tell parents who have biological children in this situation that they're doing the wrong thing when they treat the sibling who cheated the same, and expect the sibling who was cheated on to suck it up and forgive them. I don't know why it would be different just because one of these siblings isn't biologically yours. You are standing up for your daughter who was betrayed by her boyfriend and her sister. You're telling her sister that you don't support her and that you're disappointed in her. Did you maybe go a bit too far in saying you regret raising her? Some people might think so, but honestly, I don't. She did an unforgivable thing. Even if she was yours, I feel that you would have some regret as a parent that she never thought this was okay. Amy made a choice. She made it over and over again. Did she know all of the consequences of her choice? Probably not. Doesn't mean she shouldn't suffer the consequences of that choice. Next story. Am I the a-hole for forcing my daughter to find her own way to a wedding because of what she was wearing? My wife and I have 3 daughters, 19, 24, and 28. Our youngest, Jill, just started community college this year, while our 2 oldest have moved away to start their careers. Jill still lives with my wife and I as she is attending college locally, and this saves her money. This past weekend, we were invited to my niece's and goddaughter's wedding a couple hours away. The dress code was semi-formal, so men were expected to wear suits and women in dresses. As we were getting ready to leave, Jill was taking her sweet time getting ready, and I was kind of nagging at her to get going. She had been out late the night before with friends, and I'm sure she was feeling the effects of that. When she was finally ready to go, she was wearing some kind of black, spaghetti strap halter top thing with leggings. I told her that was not an appropriate outfit for her cousin's wedding, and that she needs to change into something else. She told me she doesn't have anything else to wear, and that I don't get to police what she's wearing. I told her that judging by the amount of dirty clothes on her floor and in her closet, she clearly has other options. She just didn't plan ahead enough to figure something out. I told her it was disrespectful to her cousin, the bride, to wear something too revealing and tacky to their wedding. Jill called me a jerk and said no one is going to care what she's wearing, and that if people focus on her clothes more than bride, that's their problem, not hers. I told her in that case, how she's getting to the wedding is her problem, not mine. She asked what that meant, and I told her that if that's what she wants to wear, she's going to have to find her own way to the wedding, because I'm not going to arrive with my daughter looking like she's about to hit a club at 2 a.m. instead of attend her cousin's wedding. My wife chimed in at this point and told us both to calm down. She told me I was being overbearing, but also told Jill that she did not agree with her choice of attire either and reminded her this is a semi-formal event. She told Jill she would help her find a different option that would be better suited for this. Jill scoffed at that and went to her room and closed the door. I went and knocked and told her she has 15 minutes to be ready or we are leaving without her. She yelled at me that I was being an a-hole, so I went outside to wait, and after 20 minutes I went inside and Jill was still in her room. I told my wife that I'm leaving and she can either come with me now or her and Jill can figure out their own plans. My wife asked what Jill is supposed to do, and I said she can take an Uber for all I care at this point. My wife reluctantly left with me, and I could tell she felt guilty about the whole thing. Jill ended up not coming to the wedding, and both her and my wife blame me for it. I don't think I was the a-hole here, though. You're exactly right. Leggings and a halter top are not appropriate to wear at a wedding that is set to semi-formal attire. It shows disrespect to the bride, and it's embarrassing for you as well. But the people saying that you have no right to say, "I'm not taking you unless you change," have a double standard. They want to say that Jill is an adult and can wear what she wants / make her own choices, but they still don't believe that Jill should face the consequences of her own choices, and also take on that adult responsibility of having to figure out how to get to an event. Precisely. At 19, I fully understood the difference between semi-formal and not. There's no way I'd have showed up in anything other than a decent dress, no matter how crappy it felt. Jill still lives at home, so even as a legal adult, if she's relying on her parents for a ride, they have every right to say, "Not going in my car dressed like that." I've heard of friends even doing that if a group is carpooling to an event and someone is dressed way out of line. So yes, technically Jill can wear what she wants, but her ride can also say, "I'm not showing up with you if you're dressed like that." Not even a dress. A pantsuit would have sufficed, but leggings at a top for the club? No. I know that a lot of people will start going on about what a woman wears, but this is about not being up to the dress code. And while your daughter had a right to wear what she wanted, you also had a right not to be associated with her decisions on what she wanted to wear. You disagreed with her apparel, and as such, you weren't going to help her be disrespectful to her cousin by not going with the dress code. I put this in a similar category if your daughter had decided to wear a white dress to the wedding. Yes, there's no law preventing it, but that doesn't mean you have to assist in her decisions. And if she's big enough to decide what she wants to wear, she's big enough to call an Uber. Not today, Hall. When did people forget that there are types of clothing that is inappropriate to wear in certain places/events? You aren't policing what she wears in that situation. If you can't dress appropriately, then don't go. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to contribute to my stepsister's retirement plan for our parents? My stepsister approached me and our other siblings with a proposal for a retirement plan to help our parents retire, since on the outside, their prospects of retiring comfortably are non-existent. Essentially, she wants us to collectively contribute £3,000 each month starting now and for the rest of our parents' lifetime. The money would be kept in an account in her name only, and only be given to them once my stepdad retires fully. She calculated our contributions based on what she thinks is our total household income. Currently, she would contribute £350, her bi-sister £550, my bi-sister £850, and me £1,250. I said no for a few reasons, but I did disclose these reasons to them. The first being my sister and I have always helped my mom financially, and by extension my stepdad, since we both had our first jobs. My sister and I have a joint account which we contribute to monthly. The money is our mom's, and she has full access to it and can spend it however she likes. My stepdad doesn't know about the accounts as he has a habit of just giving money away when he has it. The second, our parents had a religious marriage. It never registered it with the government, so they're not technically legally married. If my stepdad passes away before my mom, the money will most likely go to my stepsisters because my stepdad isn't the type to write a will. So, I think that's unfair, since both me and my sister are being expected to contribute the majority of the £3,000. The third, I don't trust this stepsister. She asks our parents for money constantly, and is partially the reason why their savings are non-existent. Lastly, I think it was a bit presumptuous of her to decide how much we would all contribute, and it rubbed me the wrong way. Especially since I'm a stay-at-home mom currently, so she's essentially just assuming my husband is going to pay on my behalf. After I said no, both my stepsisters flipped on me. They said I was selfish and greedy, that I should want to help our parents, especially their dad, since he used his hard-earned money to raise me. I got annoyed because they wouldn't drop it, and told them I didn't care. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. The money would be kept in an account in her name only. This was enough, but it only got worse from there. Don't give her a penny. That alone was why I said not the a-hole too. It was a bit presumptuous of her to decide how much we would all contribute, and it rubbed me the wrong way. Yes, it's one thing to suggest caring for your parents, another entirely to go, so you'll pay around £1,000 more a month than me, yeah? This is 50 Shades of Sketchy. Since stepsister is proposing that she be the only one with access to the account, you would think she could at least be smart enough to lie they'll all contribute the same amount. Currently, she would contribute £350. Her bi-sister £550, my bi-sister £850, and me £1,250. So the mooch sister wants to create a fund for the parents, giving her sole authority to manage the money? I think she's either lying to you or lying to herself, and she wants more cash for herself. Why on earth would she administer this fund? She's the least significant contributor by her own plan. Not the a-hole. How generous of her with her siblings' money. How does she explain her having sole control while contributing the least? Whatever you do, don't do this. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom I won't take care of her once she's too ill to care for herself? I, female 19, am the youngest of 5. I have 4 older brothers, 21, 22, 25, and 28. Just to give some background, my mom has always loved being a boy mom. She dotes on them and made it very, very clear she never wanted to and didn't like having a daughter. She never liked me, and I accepted that long time ago. And her behavior towards me worsened when my dad left her. When I turned 16, her gift to me was a list of jobs I can apply to pay for my expenses, even though my dad was giving her child support. Then at 17, she kicked me out because I wasn't willing to pay more than $400 rent, while my brothers didn't even work. So she asked to meet me for lunch last weekend and told me she is sick. She has been in and out of the hospital the last few months before she found out she's sick, and looking at 12 to 18 months before she'll be too weak/ill to care for herself. She asked that when the time came if I'd be willing to be her caretaker, as she didn't want men, aka my brothers, to take care of her in that state and didn't want a stranger to do it either. Here's where I'm questioning if I'm the a-hole. I told her no, I won't care for her and she should start looking for someone she knows who'd be willing to because I'm not. This past week, I've been receiving nasty messages from everyone from my mom's Facebook because she posted about me not caring about her. They've called me unsympathetic, selfish, mean-spirited, uncaring, etc. My brothers have also been mad at me, and now I feel like an a-hole and I want to know if I am. Not the a-hole. You don't owe her anything. She has 4 children she has invested in. You aren't one of them. She can have a return on her investment through her precious boys. Deactivate Facebook, change your number if you have to, focus on your success and survival because if you don't, no one else will. Or tag this post in every Facebook comment and post mom makes. Let them judge based on her treatment of you, and how she now wants you to give up your life to take care of her when she charged you rent from 16 and kicked you out at 17. Not stay home big time, she doesn't deserve any help from you. Air the dirty laundry. See how sympathetic people are after they see how she treated you. I'm so sorry you have such a terrible mom. I'm going to be quite honest. My mom's friends who witnessed how she treated me firsthand, they didn't care then, and doubt they will now. I'm sure her Facebook friends knows too. She never posted me or about me. They can't not know she disliked me. Sounds like her Facebook friends would be the perfect people she can ask to be her caregiver. If they think it's so awful of you, they can step right up. Edit. I want to clarify I do not live with my mom and haven't for over 2 years now. When she put me out, I never went back. My dad is involved in my life, but I keep him at a distance because I'm still going through stuff, which I'm going to therapy for, and partly blame him for never sticking up for me because he knew how she treated me. But he is here for me and I have friends and family on my dad's side who's supporting me. And I've been going through the comments and reading DMs bawling my eyes out. Y'all are so nice, and I want to thank all of you for your kind words. It means so much. I'll give you all virtual hugs because you guys really made my night. Thank you.
Date. Am I the a-hole for posting a photo of my stepdad walking me down the aisle? Original post. So for context, I, 23 female, have a very strained and rocky relationship with my bio dad, 45 male. When I was young, he cheated on my mom, 45 female, and basically abandoned me and my little sister Belle, 21 female, for his new wife Amanda, 35 female. My mom remarried to my stepdad Jason, 48 male, when I was 10, 2 years after my dad left, and Jason has been more of a dad to us than my bio dad ever was. Bio dad didn't come to my wedding, so honestly I don't even know why I'm typing this, but here we are. I recently married the love of my life Daniel, 24 male, on August 1st. The day was magical. Jason walked me down the aisle, and it meant so much to me. We went to Hawaii for our honeymoon, and when we got back, our photographers sent us a sneak peek of our wedding photos. Obviously, I posted a few, including one of Jason walking me down the aisle. An hour after I posted, Belle called me and asked me to take that particular photo down. She said our dad had called her, saying it was disrespectful to let another man walk me down the aisle. She told him, "Well, you weren't even at the wedding." He apparently responded with, "I would have gone if she'd let me walk her down the aisle." For the record, there was absolutely no way I was going to let him do that. He hasn't been there for me in years, and Jason has been the one who's actually acted like a father. Now Belle says I'm being petty and rubbing it in his face by posting the picture, and some extended family on his side have started making comments about how I shouldn't air family drama online. I don't see how posting a photo from my own wedding is airing drama, but now I'm wondering if I'm missing something. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. If your bio father feels like this was disrespectful, then he needs to look at himself. He should have been a better father, and that would have been him in the picture instead of your stepfather. Did he not go to your wedding because he wouldn't be walking you down the aisle? Or did he not go for another reason? He can't ride 2 horses with one ass. He can't be a crappy father, and then expect to get all the perks of being a good dad. He didn't go, only because Amanda wasn't allowed to have a part in the wedding. He was invited along with Amanda to not have drama, but here we are LOL, and Amanda wanted a part in the wedding, like how my mom had. Amanda didn't go dress shopping with me. She didn't have a say in anything, and frankly, my dad didn't like it, so he told me he just wasn't coming. Of course you're not the a-hole. I would even double down on this and post a follow-up thanking your stepdad, not only for walking you down the aisle, but for being there for you and raising you. Any of your bio dad's flying monkeys who call you can be blocked. Not the a-hole, and your dad did walk you down the aisle. Just because he's not related by DNA doesn't mean he's not family. As you said, bio male was MIA. Jason stepped up and took over. That's a true parent. That I know. I do call Jason my dad, just for the sake of not confusing people I used his name. I just feel guilty in a way, you know? Oh honey, you have nothing to feel guilty about. Your dad abandoned you when you were a child, and he clearly never repaired the relationship because he didn't even show up to your wedding. You married the love of your life, surrounded by the friends and family who support you, you know, by showing up. The only response to those trying to make you feel bad is to remind them that bio dad wasn't there throughout your childhood and didn't even bother to show up for the wedding, and then block them. Best wishes on a long and happy marriage. You've only spoken to your sister Belle about this, correct? Is there any chance that all of this is coming just from her? Is there any chance your dad never said any of this? Or at least that he never wanted any of this conveyed to you? Belle is close to Amanda. Belle has kinda always been closer to them, since I guess she has forgiven them for what happened, which I haven't. But I know Belle wouldn't make something like this up, or at least I hope. I didn't speak to my father directly since I have his number blocked. Now for the update. I honestly didn't expect all the comments and kind words on my original post, so thank you. I ended up speaking with both my dad and Belle about the whole situation. First, with Belle, I told her to stay out of it altogether. I said if she's on our dad's side so much, she can have him walk her down the aisle at her wedding. I also made it clear that I'm not going to punish her for still talking to him, but I'm also not going to pretend he's been a father to me when he frankly never was. She didn't have much to say after that. Then I called my dad. That conversation went about how you'd expect. He started with, "One day you'll understand," and that I needed to learn respect. I told him cheating wasn't respectful, and neither was abandoning your kids, and that he hasn't been there for me since I was 10. Jason, however, has been there every step of the way, and he is my father to me. That's when my dad hung up on me LOL. Amanda then made a passive-aggressive Facebook post saying, "No matter things that happened in the past, you'll always be family." I'm about 99% sure that was about me, but I digress. At the end of the day, I'm still not taking the photo down. I don't want to make Jason upset if I do, and he deserves to be celebrated. I'm not letting my bio dad rewrite history just because it makes him uncomfortable. People get so entitled around weddings and babies. I'm proud of you. To be honest, it's telling how those big life events seem to pull hidden entitlement right to the surface. Your choice to keep that photo is really about honoring the person who actually showed up for you. Good for you. You should tell Amanda, no matter the future, once a deadbeat and a cheater, always a deadbeat and a cheater. Stand your ground and keep honoring Jason. Next story. Am I the a-hole for ignoring my ex's request for a sit-down talk between him, his wife, and me? I, 31 female, have 2 kids, 11 and 9, with my ex, 33 male. We were never married and our relationship was never very good. So breaking up wasn't the worst thing that could have happened. For a while, it surprised me that he left first. I always suspected his wife, 32 female, was around before he left me. I know the two of them told me they were a couple less than 5 months after we broke up. And in that same conversation, they told me they were a team and that everything going forward had to include her, because the kids would know her as their second mom. They told me to get used to hearing her called mom, because they would not stop it and would actively encourage it. I brought them to court, and the judge added a clause about calling a step-parent or partner mom or dad. This pissed them off, but they still tried to show off what they could do as a couple for the kids that I couldn't as a single mom. My ex's wife also told me she would be the mother to their other siblings, that she was going to give my ex a bunch of babies, and that this would win the kids over to her even more. She said she would be the preferred mom even if they never got to call her that. Or maybe they would, and that my kids would hate me for separating them if I got so jealous. I spent a lot of years documenting and trying to stay calm for the sake of my kids. We used a co-parenting app for communication, and they still sent messages through that about how she'd be favored and things like that. They were scolded a number of times over it. A few years ago, I put my kids in therapy because I knew they picked up on the issues between the adults. My ex's wife never got pregnant. I know I'll sound petty when I say this, but it made me so happy after all the gloating about how the kids would prefer her because she'd give them a lot more siblings. For a while, I noticed she was looking more and more depressed and desperate when no babies seemed to be born. Around July last year, my ex told me the kids would be with me for longer and that he would work out a makeup schedule later. I found out 6 weeks later that his wife had tried to take her own life and was in the hospital, and that it was triggered by the news she could not have biological children. She and my ex also told people it was made worse by my son not drawing her in a picture of his family that same day at summer camp. I filed with the courts for a temporary change in the custody agreement, and it was granted. She had to complete certain steps before the kids could go back into the house with her. My ex and she were unhappy, but since they used my kids as an excuse, I did not want to take any chances with them. She completed all the steps, and custody was returned to 50-50 in February of this year. Back in June, my ex suggested the three of us sit down and talk some things through. I told him anything that needed to be said could be done via the app. He said face-to-face was better, and that they wanted to improve the relationships so that she could be an equal parent and family member to the kids. Both of them started info-dumping about her inability to have biological kids, and how it hurts her to know the kids don't see her as family. They said they want us to put away the animosity so we can all be present and there for the kids, and that she realizes it won't happen while she hates my guts and wishes I would give the kids to her. I started ignoring the requests after first saying no because I do not think this will be a good idea and I do not trust them. They do not want us to do it over the app. The lucky thing for me is it's all in the app, and there are some concerning comments, like hoping I would let go of the no calling a step-parent or a partner mom or dad rule, and things of that nature. When I did not reply and agree to meet up, my ex started saying I was not putting the kids first and that I needed to stop using everything against them in court. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and if they don't want their actions to come up in court, they should stop doing obnoxious things that an authority figure can see are wrong. I wanted to reply with that, but I have decided not to engage unless it's actually something important to do with the kids. That stops any escalation and shows the court I'm not engaging in petty fighting. This is very smart. Their fertility issues, her depression over it, and her subsequent actions are not your concern. Stay focused on the kids. If anything, she seems unstable and spiraling, and I fear their inability to manipulate you into doing what they want might cause her to lash out, spiral further, or worse. Please watch this situation closely. Having to send your kids into that home with what she has already said and done is quite frightening. I keep a close eye on things, and my kids' therapist does too. We'll know if things start to get worse through them or my ex's sister, who gave me more info last time. My ex doesn't communicate things to me that he should, and he was told he needs to stop withholding relevant information from me. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé to move out after a fight about how she treats me versus her coworkers? I 32 male work from home making over $100,000 a year. My fiancé, 30 female, is a doctor earning around $150,000 to $200,000. We live in my house. Since she's saving for her residency, I've never asked her to pay rent, utilities, or groceries. I handle most household chores because I know her job is demanding. I cook for her, make sure her bed's ready, and basically try to make home a place where she can rest without worrying about money or chores. Recently, I found out she treats her co-workers every single day. She admits she's a people pleaser, so I let it slide at first. But it hit me. If she can be that generous with other people, why does it feel like everything she does for me comes with conditions or strings attached? Example, I asked her to turn off the lights once because our electric bill hit $1,000, about $200 USD. She angrily handed me $40 for electricity, the only time she's ever chipped in for bills, even though I pay about $800 to $1,000 a month. She's complained about the cost of rides from my place to work, but even with that, she saves more living here than renting her own place. One day she had a day off and actually slept well. I asked her to wash the dishes. She got mad and called her mom to join the argument. Something I've told her before is a deal breaker. This wasn't the first time she's dragged her family into our disagreements. Today we argued again when she was telling me, cheerfully, how she regularly buys her co-workers food and coffee. I told her it hurts that she's so generous to them, but keeps score when it comes to me. She tracks everything she gives me, but not what she gives them. In the heat of the moment, I said, if this is how it's going to be, just move out. I know that was harsh, but I'm feeling unappreciated and like we're not really partners. More like I'm a live-in support system while she gives her best to other people. Am I the a-hole for saying that? Or am I just being overly sensitive and not understanding how stressful her job is? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. She treats you like a doormat. Good thing your spine finally started to grow. The very fact that she goes as far as to call her mother to gang up on you over some dishes is very telling. Are you sure you want to marry into this? Seriously, if she's calling her mom over dishes, imagine future arguments. This is a preview, not a one-off, not the a-hole. Facts. If she's already calling her mom over something as small as dishes, it's only going to get worse down the line. That's not just stress. That's how she handles conflict, and it's not healthy. OP's not wrong for drawing the line. This has nothing to do with her stress levels. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but she's using you. She has money to treat her friends, but not pay some bills or do any chores around the house. If you stay with her, you are going to have a serious conversation about financial responsibility. Also, the way she's treating you when she basically lives there for free is absolutely atrocious. Stick to your original thought. Kick her out. Not the a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for paying for my little brother to eat the better school lunch, but not my step-siblings? I, 17 female, have a little brother, almost 15, and 2 step-siblings, 15 male and 13 female. Mom married their dad 2 years ago, and they've had bad finances since. One of the things that changed was how we could eat and what we could afford to eat. The high school my brother's stepbrother and I attend has 2 separate lunch menus, one for the free school lunch program and another for those who have money in their lunch accounts. I started earning money to pay into mine because the free lunch menu is bad, and when my brother started high school last August, I paid into his account, even though my mom thought he was getting the free lunches like my step-siblings. I wanted him to have the better lunches. My mom and her husband didn't find this out until July, when my stepbrother and stepsister complained about the 2 of us getting the paid lunches. My stepbrother told my stepsister, and she was upset because she's also on her middle school's free lunch program and doesn't like that she can't get the better menu options. My stepbrother said he was stuck with lame crap all year while we got burritos, rice bowls, and all kinds of better stuff. Mom asked me how my brother was getting the paid lunches when he didn't have a job, and I lied and said I didn't know. She said the only way that would be happening is if I was paying, because she certainly couldn't afford that. She asked me how I could justify only buying for him, and I told her he's my little brother, and I'll always look out for him. She asked about my other brother and sister. I told her I don't have another brother or a sister. She said I do, and I said I have a stepbrother and a stepsister, and if she got divorced tomorrow, they would no longer be my stepbrother and stepsister. I told her it's not my job to look out for them. My mom's husband wanted to know why I couldn't have told them, so they could make sure his kids got the better lunches, and I told him they would have stopped me because they don't have the money. Then he said it was bad enough I was getting them, but at least that was me paying for myself. He said if I pay for one, I should pay for all. And I told him that doesn't work when I'm paying for my sibling, not just anyone. He tried to argue that all 3 are my siblings too, but I told him the same thing and used the real sibling argument. With school starting back soon, Mom told me I'd better pay for all 3 if I don't want to turn into an awful person who divides our family. She said, or I could stop paying for them all and just accept the free lunches. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and you are a great big sister. Thank you. I try to be, especially when we don't have a ton of family. Not the a-hole. You are only 17 and only working part-time. You have the right to get yourself something nicer, and it's a kind gesture to help your brother. It is not your responsibility to upgrade any of them. It's not like they're not getting fed. You're giving your brother, who you are blood related to and have bonded with, extra because it's within your means, but it's not your responsibility to give them the same, especially since it's only been 2 years. If you were an adult and working full-time, it may have been nice for you to give them the same, but you are not obligated either way. Why are they trying to parentify you? Does your stepfather contribute toward your costs? Even if he did, it wouldn't make you the a-hole. I think he's the reason we started to struggle as much as we have. I know he had debt before they married, and I've heard Mom say he needs to let her make the financial decisions because he can't be trusted. So there's that.